Yeah. It's more gross and chaotic than a little baby brother booger wall.
Ugh.
I have no words. I am so disgusted by what is happening.
Hey, 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 it is your girl J Bell and your favorite psychic friend here, Samantha. We're
Hello.
back together. Hello. Like
Finally,
it's
we're back together.
right, it's been like a mess, and we're back
Mhm.
here with our first official episode of the Ish My Psychic Says after a long hiatus. And man, when I tell you, we've been not under rocks. I think that's the wrong word to say. I think we've been going through a lot of major life transitions, right?
Oh yeah. I think most people are looking at 2025 like who put this on my bingo card?
Right.
What happened? What's going on? I feel like we all have whiplash.
Exactly. So do you want to go first about your life transitions or you want me to go?
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
My hiatus had a lot to do with relocation. I relocated Hill Country, Texas, and I had to get all of my life and business and kids and everything situated before I could sit down with J Bell and actually do something. She had movement as well. I had to go through some health scares. It just like one thing after another. And
Yeah.
today's episode is going to be pretty fun, but
Yes.
our hiatuses was why we stayed away from recording for a minute is because we both had some stuff.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like, I left my job in Albuquerque. I've talked about that on YouTube. The whole video is up right now. And then I started in a new job. I work in TV news right now, and that's been hectic. I mean, grief, death grief. I lost two family members. It's been a wild, wild road. And
Right.
like I should say this now, like my cousin was killed at the beginning of this year, actually on New Year's Day. And just recently, they caught both of the killers. They
Oh,
caught
good.
one in High Point and the other one in Florida. And so now the next steps are, when do we go to trial, or is he going to plead
Right.
out? And
That's
then my
hard.
yeah, it is. It's very, very hard. And my aunt passed away from bone cancer about a month ago, and that was his mother. And
Yeah, I'm so
so
sorry.
it's been a hard time. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been having a hard time at work. Like
I know.
I think when you
I
get
know.
right, I think when you get to a certain point in age, you're just like, bruh, dude, I don't have to put up with this. But like the
Right.
economy sucks right now,
The
you know?
economy, like that will probably be a whole other episode in itself because,
Yeah.
this episode we're going to talk about decoding the chaos that dating in 2025
Yeah,
has.
not 20 twats. Okay.
2025. 2025. I feel like right now with the economy, with everyone having just transitions with jobs and all
Mm-hmm.
of these extreme natural disaster events happening, and then all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden we bombed a place. Like, what is happening? What are we doing? What's
Right.
going to happen?
The first
But
half of 2025 has been chaos after
yeah,
chaos. Yeah.
yeah. It's more gross and chaotic than a little baby brother booger wall.
Ugh.
I have no words. I am so disgusted by what is happening, like the domino effect of our bills, our finances, our rent, groceries,
Mm-hmm.
dating, learning to date, learning yourself, spirit, like it just the list goes on.
Yeah.
And I feel like for the most part, because of this episode, we're going to buckle down and talk about
Mm-hmm.
2025 dating and why it's been a hailstorm.
Right. Exactly. So like if you've been trying to date or find it or give, like all these different things, buckle up, baby, because we're about to decode dating in 2025, how much has gone off the rails, and just like trying to find the balance in why us millennials and Gen Zers no longer want to be a part of the dating world, okay? Because it's been like
Right.
a straight up dumpster fire for a lot of us that are still single. So let's jump
Right.
into this. The state of dating in 2025, like it's basically a hot mess. AI, DMs, all this mess like that. You know, Me personally, I have not literally really dated since 2018. We've discussed my ex over and over again. He's now married. I don't know what else he's doing with his life, but I'm happy for him. Um, and then I tried to not date, but kind of just like have a little fun with someone last year. And it turned into a situation where I was like, oh, I see why you're single. But I also
Yeah.
see why I also see why I'm single because the behavior that I continue to put up with in previous situations. I was no
Right.
longer willing to put up with that in this situation. I think he thought I would put up with it just because I've known him for a long time. So
Right.
let's talk about this a little bit, especially when it comes to online dating.
Well, we're gonna speak more to singles, right?
Yeah.
Because people in your relationships, we're happy that you're God's favorite people. I'm one of them. Sorry,
Ooh,
but
good for
anyways,
you.
everyone's living their best life while you're stuck wondering if your date is secretly a catfish or just a potato. I've heard of people who are actually going on and dating AI avatars.
Mm.
It's very strange, but I know a few people that are like, yeah, I'm dating, they call them Chad instead of Chat GPT, Chad. And that's my boyfriend and it checks in. It's a weird. They have apps now where a chat box or an AI personality, you can date them, but then you don't go on physical dates and you don't ever see them in person. But then it's like this app that's like, good morning, sweetheart. How did you sleep? And that's weird. That's a whole nother weird. And hey, whatever makes you happy. But when you were saying that a lot of people today are like boycotting dating and just kind of
Yeah.
like not really in it, and I'm like, okay. And then there's a group of people that boycotted dating and they're doing these AI dates where they have some companionship. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how people feel about that. I don't really know what to say about that because nothing says romance like talking to a chat box that's better looking than your ex. So,
That's just no. I'd rather just be alone and
yeah,
scroll on
the
social media.
but
'Cause,
see, the
like,
constant scroll makes dating feel less like connection and more like a competitive sport. I feel like everyone is swiping through endless profiles and algorithms, and they feel like, oh my God, these algorithms know me better than my best friend, or at least they think they do, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so they're looking at everyone else like, well, why do they get a relationship and why am I still seeking, why am I still searching, like
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with me? Because I feel like that's the main thing, is that people end up coming back and saying, well, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
why
I'm
why
one of
can't
those people.
I find that? Well, it has a lot to do with like social anxiety, trust issues, and just wearing fancier masks, I guess. Like we hold ourselves in a particular, like wearing masks, not like the 2020 pandemic ones, but like
Yeah,
wearing a facade,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I
And
get what
so
you're saying.
people do that, and people do that all the time. So you don't know if it's real or if it's just like this character they've made up,
Mm-hmm.
or if they're mirroring you. So dating has become super sketchy and scary.
I think the biggest thing is like when we think about dating, at least in my perspective, especially like when you grow up in the 90s and early 2000s and rom-coms were really big, right? Everything was like a big romantic gesture and that's how you thought really life was going to be. A man was going to approach you in some random store or out in some random
Bump into
street,
you.
bump into you, and then you guys like slowly fall in love and you get this
No,
big
you
lavish
fall in love as
wedding.
soon as you see each other. It's that
Exactly.
fast.
Exactly. And then you get to that age of when you saw the rom coms, they were like, what, maybe in their late 20s, early 30s. Um, and you're like, this is not dating.
Yeah.
Dating to people is because we don't have any, or a lot of, I hate to put it like this, a lot of people don't have emotional maturity,
Yeah.
or they weren't taught that we think that sex is love. Sex is a
Right.
relationship. And so
Right.
like as soon as you sleep with this person, which is what we saw in rom-coms a lot of times, you automatically think you're in a relationship with this person, and that's not the case. And then you come to the day and age of social media, and now it's really really big, it's huge, and a lot of people
Hmm.
do find love through social media. You think that you'll find your love in your DMs. They're like, oh, don't ignore your DMs. Honey, ignore those DMs because nine times out, oh no, I'm gonna say nine times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, that man or that woman that's in your DM, she got a secret. or they got a
Well,
secret.
the funniest part about DMs is that, you'll get those random, "Hi, I'm an I what is it, Arabian Prince, and I'm here to pay all your bills, and
Ooh,
you are
sugar
going to
daddies.
be
That's a
my sugar
scam.
baby." And you're just like, "Oh my God, me," right? But yeah, right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of people date for fun. They don't
Mhm.
date for like that real connection. They date because they're
Mhm.
bored. They're trying to forget emotional baggage from the
Mhm.
last, like, the rebounds. So people
Yeah.
jump into all of these other relationships because they're like, "Oh, I got to get over this person, so let me get under this person."
Right.
And
Exactly.
when you look at it from a like a psychic's insight, like, why does dating feel like a bad TV reality show? You have to think of a few things like energy overload or digital
Mhm.
detachment, because we're all glued to a screen but emotionally
Yeah.
checked out. We're like zombies, right? But with better Wi-Fi. um Genuine vibe, like, what's that? People are more superficial than the Kardashians Instagram story. So we're
Mhm.
we're looking at all of these things, and we just don't know what's real and what's a facade, like that mask I talked about, because we also put those social
Mhm.
social masks out on the internet because we don't want people to know what we're dealing with, or our truth. And so the collective consciousness is just a hot mess because everyone's stressed out, anxious, and secretly convinced that they're going to die alone. So they're
Yeah.
subconsciously pushing love away. And that's a big thing that happens when I work with clients, because when you said that people think that, okay, like the rom-com, these TV shows, these books that I'm reading, all your mama's cochina books on her bookshelf when you were like
Right.
12, you're like, why is the man from Can't Believe It's Not Real Butter holding and embracing the girl, and she's looking like a damsel, and you're like, I want that. You're 12, you
Yeah.
don't know what that is, but you want it. and
Mhm.
and when you grow up and you start to realize that, a lot of people will think, okay, well, we slept together, this means we like each other, this means we're
Mhm.
together. And for men are very different than women. So
Yeah.
they'll sleep with a woman, they're like, well, that was fun, great, awesome, cool, neat,
Mhm.
neato, finger guns. And a woman will be like, that was mediocre, do you think he likes me? Oh my God, he didn't even get me off, do you think we'll be together? Like, it's just so weird because they either get really excited just for that connection, or they get really
Mhm.
excited if it's a great connection, because you never know what you're going to get, right? It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
Forrest Gump says, life's a box of chocolates, so is sex. It's a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So, in my perspective of what I deal with people is, people do not deal with what's first with dating.
Mhm.
Dating yourself, self love, independence, finding yourself. It's like, let me go find someone to fill this void. Let me go find someone to help me, like, let me push this emotional baggage. Oh my God, I have an anxious attachment. Okay, let me go attach to the wrong guy for a couple years and
Mhm.
hope for the best. That's
Yeah.
what happens. And I'm not going to just say that it's women dealing with bad men, because there's a lot of great men dealing with bad women too.
Yeah.
A lot of women who are more in their masculine era, pushing men into their feminine era. So,
Mhm.
psychically speaking, it's so complex, and it all comes down to the same thing, is that people are like, I love myself, but that sometimes means please don't bother me with your feelings. They don't want other people to hold them accountable or push them or help them grow, because they're like, you're bullying me, nobody going to tell me what to do. So it's hard to find a good partner when you're wanting a partner to just, I guess,
Just
exist next
exist.
to you
Yeah.
and not help you grow, because a
Yeah.
really good partnership does not look like what people think it is.
Yeah.
It's like a woman comes into a man, or whatever role you're in. If you are a
Mhm.
man and man relationship, woman and woman relationship, trans relationship, female masculine, whatever it is, a positive relationship is not the easiest. And you
No.
get really depressed when you are in that relationship in the beginning, because you start to realize, oh my God, this person likes me. What?
I personally have never, I like when I think about like my past, I don't even want to call them relationships because truly I don't feel like they were. But past situations, I realized like none of these men that I ever involved myself with and gave myself to, they did not like me. And it's just the way that they treated me, the way they acted. And I always thought to myself, well, if I just do a little bit more,
Yeah,
maybe their mind
pushing
will
yourself,
change. Yeah, pushing
changing
your,
yourself, pushing yourself,
yeah,
morphing
yeah,
into whatever they want.
yeah. Yeah, or like
Yeah.
changing your plans for them, or you cut yourself off from other people because you just want to be with this
All
person.
about them.
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this person is talking to five other females and probably having
Right.
sex with them. Or in the case of my ex, he had his wife on the side the entire time that we were talking. Like it's just like it's like weird. A
Yeah.
really weird situation.
Well,
Well, I don't know if
to
she was there the entire time, but you
to
know,
clarify that too is like once you found out he was getting married, you cut off all contact and you were like, no, I'm not talking to you anymore because you're
yeah.
J Bell, you are a girl's girl. You are definitely a woman that I admire and respect because you are a girl's girl. If a guy is talking to you, you find out there's a girl, you're like, nah, dude, bye bye. And I
Yeah.
respect that about you. You've always been really good at that.
Yeah.
What's sad is like when we're talking about this dating stuff and when we're looking into like why is it so hard, it's because we are in this weird ghosting and commitment phobia decade,
Mhm.
right? And I don't
Yeah.
know how long this is going to last. I mean, it does feel like it's going to let up. I think people are just burnt out on hookup culture because that was the last few years was like this hookup culture. Now we're in this strange culture of ghosting and commitment phobia because,
Yeah.
ghosting just isn't Halloween anymore. It's a new dating sport. So the psychic tip is like fear of vulnerability is at an all-time high. Good luck
Mhm.
finding someone who's willing to open up without a restraining order. Sorry.
Well, dang. I guess I'll be single for the rest of my life.
Well, I think I think the problem that we face with dating has a lot to do with you're afraid to be all or you're afraid to be nothing, and where's that balance? Like how can I balance it? Because okay,
Mhm.
am I going to hurt this person's feelings if I say yes, I'm dating around, I'm just trying to figure out what's like, does that make you a bad person? Does that
No.
make you, does that like instantly make you a cheater? Does that instantly make you like undesirable? Like if you sat down with coffee with the guy and the guy was
Mhm.
like, I'm here on a date with you. I really like you. Honestly and openly, I have been dating around. I went on a few dates before.
Mhm.
I think I feel more connected to you and I'm willing, like if you're wanting to pursue this, I'll probably cut off all these other women. Would you accept that as like, wow, he's being honest with me, he's being vocal, or would you take that offense and be like, oh, this womanizer and get all crazy over the fact that God forbid he has dates with other people? But he's never had like a physical connection with you. You guys been on a like this is your first or second date. Would you be offended by that?
No, because I mean, and this is the thing too. Like, people don't know how to communicate effectively. So, like, if you are dating around and that's your preference, yes, if you let somebody know, let them make the choice of whether or not they want to stick around in this situation. In this case, if the guy told me straight up, like, yeah, I've been dating around a little bit, but my interest is more in you, if we're on the same page, then those other people are gone. Okay, cool. As long as I know. The problem is
Yeah.
when you don't tell it and then I find out through intuition because
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not
Exactly.
dumb. I can tell something is going on. Like, there's no reason to lie. We're adults. And I feel like
Right.
if you can't, like, be truthful from the beginning, then you don't need to be dating because
Right.
you're not only affecting yourself, but you're affecting the other people that you are involving in this situation.
Right. But then it's scary because we have a lot of people who are they're mature like that. They think, okay, yeah, you know what, he's telling me, she's telling me, he's telling me, they're
Hmm.
telling me that they're kind of dating around trying to figure it out. And then you, if you get offended, you have to understand that you are not committed to this person, and you sitting on a date with them doesn't mean that they're necessarily the love of your life or the person you're going
Hmm.
to end up with. And like going back and being like, but you are the only person I talk to, because
Hmm.
there's a lot of women that do that. They'll start talking to a guy and they cut everybody off and they just talk to this guy. And then they go on a date with this guy and they're really hoping to pursue that
Hmm.
relationship where the guy is like, okay, I've gone on a date with this girl. I've been around this girl maybe. And then they go with you. They're searching. So they're a little bit more, I guess, available to talk to other women. So then
Yeah.
women will get like highly offended or they feel some type of way if they find out that the guy is talking to multiple women because in
Hmm.
their mind they've already decided that that's the one or that's the person they want. And I feel like that's the biggest problem in dating is that dating to marry, right? Dating to marry or dating to hook up, dating
Hmm.
to Like, what is your ultimate goal, and aligning yourself with someone who has a similar goal?
Yeah.
Society and culture and gender role shifting has been happening so much where a lot of women are coming forward and getting readings, and they're like, I am so much in my masculine era because the guy that I chose is not doing masculine things. I'm outside doing construction. He's inside in the air conditioner. Like a lot of women are coming forward. They're like working all of these hard jobs, and their partner, their counterpart, is like not contributing the same amount. And so a
Mm-hmm.
lot of women are like, I'm in my masculine era. Why do I need a man in my life if I am my own best man? Like, okay,
No.
Mulan, chill out. We have to, the expectations of what we have over another person is diabolical, because you
Yeah.
can sit there as a person and you have your feelings and your emotions and validating yourself, and you're feeling like, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is the type of person I am, this is the type of partner I am, this is
Mm-hmm.
what I'm going to contribute, this is how much I'm going to give. And then you're
Yeah.
sitting in front of your partner and you're like, huh, this guy, because the expectation that he should be doing all of that same stuff as a different vessel, a different energetic space.
Right. Well, people are not like you said. They're not having these conversations. They just have
Nope.
expectations. They go straight into it. I don't even think people like formally ask people out on dates anymore, or formally ask like, "Hey, like I want to
That's
get
a
connected to
lie.
you." I that's the I'm not. I see some of it sometimes to time, but not like really. And maybe
So
that's just
my
my experience.
my love story.
Yes, share your love story, Sam. Make us all
My love
inspired.
story. So I met Kane on social media, and not the best of apps. I met him on Tinder, right? And we were both just like on there, just chit chatting with people. And then we
Hmm.
started talking off of it because I didn't really want to be on Tinder and he didn't want to go
Yeah.
on Tinder. And it was just the cheapest, the most available, and it was just what it is, right? So we met, and he is the first man I have ever met in my entire life that asked me out on a date, asked me if I wanted to be his girlfriend,
Hmm.
asked me to marry him.
See.
I've never, I thought I was just like you. I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't exist anymore. I literally thought that none of that was possible. And then I ended up putting my own foot in my mouth because I ended up with someone who did all that. So it's like, it's possible once you align yourself to that energy to meet that person.
Hmm.
Because when we're constantly in the fixer mentality, where we're constantly mothering or sheltering, nurturing, fixing, or the problem solver, Mulan, we are men, that song. Um,
Yes.
when you're in that vibration, you are only going to attract the feminine energy to come to you. Feminine
Right.
energy wants to be taken care of
Oh.
and nurtured and loved, and tell me I'm pretty. So if you are in the masculine era and you're just like in your masculine energy and you're handling it all and you're doing this and you're doing that and you're not like embracing your own femininity, it's an enemy. Fucking Nemo.
I know it's so hard to say.
Femininity. Femininity.
Femininity.
When you're not embracing that feminine aspect of yourself and you're in your masculine, you're going to attract feminine energy in men, and you're not going to be happy with them.
Mm.
You need a man who's going to come in with his masculine energy and tell you, yeah, we're not doing that, and you're going to hold yourself accountable, and I'm going to hold myself accountable, and like, no, I'm going to hold this door for you, and why are you paying my bills? That's gross. I'm a man. That's what we need to attract, because it
Yeah.
like it puts you in this little princess peach, like, oh my god, this guy,
I've tried to put myself in my feminine space.
essence of the
I've
word.
Yeah, like I really have tried, but I don't know. I feel like, and the only reason why I use this example is because he was the last person I was with. I don't want anybody thinking I'm harping on this man or I want him back or nothing like that. But this is literally the last relationship that I was in. But when I originally, started talking to my ex, I wasn't even looking. I had just got out of a shitty, excuse my language, a shitty situation with another
Hmm.
guy prior to that was very like, now I realize, abusive in many
Yeah.
ways. And so I wasn't looking, I wasn't paying attention. It wasn't something that I was looking for. Now he approached me in the DMs and I was minding my business. Now I thought he was cute, but I wasn't trying to holler because our manager, I don't know, he had a thing for me too and he tried to act like he didn't, and so I didn't want to ruffle no feathers. So over time, like, I'm talking to this person, I'm thinking like, oh, he's just trying to get to know everybody at work because we all worked in different areas in our
Hmm.
company. But then he started giving me a little bit more attention. And when he decided he wanted to text me a whole night while I was at at a concert, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is happening. Okay, I can do a little flirtationship. I'm not looking for anything." And then it kind of just moved from there. And it moved fast. And it wasn't me. It was not me. So then, like, things happened. Obviously, we had sex, whatever. Not something that I had planned on my bingo card, but I never thought to myself, like, oh, now we're together. Like, I was like, okay, this is what's happening. He kept pursuing me and over again, pursuing me. So then when it finally came down to, our first solo trip together, I guess, like going to Houston and going to visit him there, by the end of the weekend, I'm sitting here. He was like, his intentions were to ask me to be his girlfriend. Do you think he actually asked me?
No.
No, I brought it up, and my dumb ass, excuse my language, was just like, okay, we're together, I guess, and it just kind of fell downhill from there. It's like he
Yeah.
got what he wanted out of the situation. On top of that, I think I was a little blind, but some of the girls that he was talking to that he claimed were his friends, I think they were more than his friends.
But see, if you think back dates and you think back of when this happened, it was kind of the beginning era of the hookup culture.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I've always been in hookup culture. I don't know what it is with these men, but they seem to think that I'm only good for sex.
Well, now
Like
we're
I
in the ghosting commitment phobia culture, so everyone's alone.
yes, no, it's just like, well, this was a person that I thought like we were going to have a future together, like I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
saw that. That's why I took my time out to like go
Yeah.
visit him or kind of risk almost losing my job or whatever because I thought that we had a future. And so then when I realized we didn't, it was kind of devastating. And then it was a
Right.
domino effect. I got dumped and I got laid off and then I moved and then I got kicked out. And then
Hmm.
he just kept dragging me along. He let me come back. And I thought he still wanted me. No, he just wanted the access.
Right. And you know what's sad is that there's so many great women and men and um just people in general, because I'm not going to exclude like them, they,
Yeah.
that stuff. There's so many amazing people that are experiencing relationships like that, where they felt strung along, they feel led on, they
Mm-hmm.
feel they invested all this time and energy and love, and for what they thought that that person loved them or cared for them, because there was like reciprocation at some point, and then it was like a
Mm-hmm.
hot and cold back and forth, on and off.
Mm-hmm.
We have to understand that when we're facing that, like, there's this simple thing that's like, if a person wanted to, they would. There is no
Mm-hmm.
interruption, there is no nothing standing in anybody's way. People genuinely will go get what they want. So if you are struggling with thinking like, do they even like me, do they even want me, if they're not showing you with their actions and their physical actions, like being there for you, supporting, like being
Mm-hmm.
emotionally available to you, then you just have to take the woe, and you have to say, guess what, they probably don't, because some people will only stay around you just to have some sort of access to you, or
Mm-hmm.
they vampire your energy, they siphon off your good energy. Now, another thing that has problems with the current dating world of
Mm-hmm.
2025 is that people are really struggling with money woes and stress overload. Who
Yeah.
has time for love when your rent is due and your paycheck is a joke? Like, we literally are in a weird time where, like, our survival, we can't go out to concerts anymore, we can't go out to eat anymore, everything is so jacked up in price, our wages stay the
Mm-hmm.
same, our bills are extreme high. So some people are dating for, I would say, convenience, where they have a roommate and maybe they fuck around with that roommate, of friends
Yeah.
with benefits, they move in with each other. I've met so many people that are like, well, I'm not in love with this person, but economy's bad. We're staying together because we can afford it, because it's something that we can both pull, like, to afford life. So it's kind of sad how that has become another thing that we're dealing with dating, is dating for convenience. Not even
Yes.
dating from your heart, dating because you want this person, dating because, hey, I can afford a cheeseburger if I live with this person.
I'm I'm so glad I'm not going through that. Yes, I have my money woes and my the stress overload and everything, but no, you can't come live with me just because you want to split the rent. That's really crazy. And at the end of the day, you both end up resenting each other. Like it's
Right.
just
And
you're
and
holding
then
yourself back.
we have people sitting back expecting Prince Charming, but settling for someone who's like almost charming. Like if you squint hard enough,
Yeah, no. I
it's
like when I
like
tell you, like my phone, my DMs, everything is dry. I have guys that give me heart emojis, but I don't I ignore it because like
yeah,
truthfully, I don't want to be bothered. I don't trust men in
right,
general. I hate to say that, but I don't trust them because
right,
the ones that I have attracted in the past have been just what you said, energy vampires. Especially the last one from last year. Like that situation. He dealing with his financial woes. I got my own financial problems. And just I just wanted to have fun a little bit,
right. And
and that,
the dating scene has become a melting pot of confusion
mm-hmm,
because we all, if you think about it really, really hard, we're dating someone's parents' unresolved trauma, and that's their product of their
oh,
child.
he
So
has a lot of that.
we're always dating something that is unresolved with ourselves, unresolved
Mm-hmm.
with that person. Just because they're a shit to you doesn't mean they're going to be a shit to the next person, because there's always the right person to help someone grow and change.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that people just suck and that's that. I feel like it's like, all right, you're being saved from this. You're being like someone's saving you from a heartache or something major by pulling this out of your life in time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not just here to complain about it. We have to like think seriously, like get
Right.
grounded, go meditate, learn to meditate, do some yoga or stare at a wall. I don't care. Do something that's going to help you get out of those feelings and start to really process like what keeps your energy from going totally off the rails. Set clear intentions and maybe write them down, because positive affirmations and putting intentions into what you're wanting,
Mm-hmm.
manifesting that is the
Yeah.
best thing. I knew when I was done with an awful relationship of narcissistic abuse and
Yeah.
just chaos and
Mm-hmm.
up and down, back and forth, hot and cold. I understand that. I sympathize with you,
Yeah.
because being with someone who was like on their terms, they wanted you, but then they would make snide comments or they would like put you down in weird ways, like passive aggressively.
Yeah.
And then looking back at that relationship, and I'm like, holy crap, like that person didn't even like me, because why were they such a hater? Why were they so demeaning towards my growth? Why would they say these things? So at the end of that relationship, I was still doing radio with you.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I was like, you know what? I'm good. I don't want to date. I don't want a relationship. I'm going to be the old woman in the middle of the woods with all the crows in the trees, and the kids are scared for Halloween because for some reason someone made a lie and said that I poisoned candy. Like I wanted to be that lady so bad. I was I was like, let me go be that weird lady at the end of the alleyway that all the kids are like, yeah, did you hear she has a mole on her nose? Yeah, did you hear that her cat
What?
screams? Like, I wanted to be that lady. And I was so done with looking and dating. And it was funny because my friend, my good friend, she was like, she was on Tinder and Bumble, and she was playing like she was like trying to date older men, and she was like playing their little like little things, and some of them are singing and some of them are saying poetry and some of them were,
Yeah.
and it was hysterical because it was just like funny, and they were meant to be funny. Like these people were trying to make other people laugh. They were just
Right.
making light of a situation. And then she was on Tinder and she was showing me all the shit show on Tinder, and I was like, "Oh my god, I want to laugh." So that was the only reason I got on Tinder, because I was swiping no on everyone, and I was all, "What the
Especially
heck?"
in
You know?
Albuquerque. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Every single dude I saw on Tinder was holding a cat, holding a fish, or like, I love babies, I love animals, I love to fish. And it was like,
I didn't
what
even see that. I just saw
what's
ugly,
more?
skinny dudes, or like they look like they was on the fence, if you know what I mean. Like
I'm
you
like,
could just,
girl,
yeah,
their
like
preference is their preference. It was just a weird cluster melting pot of we don't know whose grandma hurt this poor boy's feelings in his childhood, because what is wrong with him, and why do they dress this way, and why do they look like if I look at your profile picture and I think you stink, I ain't talking to you. It just
Yeah.
is what it is. Have you ever seen someone you're like, I bet they stink, and you just don't
Yeah.
want to? Like,
Yeah.
that was Tinder. So what's ironic is I was on a phone with another friend of mine who was a psychic, and
Mm.
I was like mad because my ex was throwing in my face. We hadn't talked in months, but he was like all over social media, so in love with this other girl. And I was
Mm.
like, whatever. People on the outs that were mutual were telling me about it. So I
Mm-hmm.
cut everybody that was mutual with him off, because I was like, I don't want nothing to do with any of it. I can't move
Mm.
on if I have anybody telling me anything. So I
Yeah.
completely just removed all of those people, removed the situation, got it away from me. And I was
Mm.
talking to a friend, and I was on Tinder, and I was just scrolling, and then I saw Kane, and I was like, "Oh my God, this guy is hot." I was like, "This has to be fake." So I messaged and I told my friend, I was like, "Yeah, 15 minutes." And within 12 minutes, he messaged me back. He was like, "I hate Tinder. I'm getting off of it. Here's my number. If you want to talk off of this, let's talk."
Oh.
And then I text him and we just hit it off. And a year later, we're engaged. We're building a house. We're doing all these things together. And
Yeah.
it was
See.
because I wrote it off. I was like, I don't want anything. I don't want any. I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to take care of my babies. That's it. So
But
it's
see, like
not
I go ahead. Sorry.
it's
Go
not
ahead. Finish.
unreasonable to think. It's not unreasonable to think that it just doesn't exist, or it's not out there. What are you being tested in to be tested by these weirdos over and over again? What is the test? What is the bigger?
Uh oh.
Did it glitch?
Yeah, it said that it stopped your recording, but it look it's still recording.
Is it recording?
What should I? It
My
should be.
screen went black and then came back.
I think your service is going in and out. I think that's why.
It says that it's like I'm strong. It hasn't shifted at all. My screen went black and then came back.
That's so weird. Okay, I think we're good. I can edit that part out.
Okay, so it's not far-fetched to think that you're not going to find the right person. I feel that we have to look at the bigger picture of, what am I being tested in? What is repeating? What's a repeating cycle? Are these people in a different version of something I'm not willing to heal from? Because we
Mm.
attract something that we're comfortable with. And 9 times out of 10, we attract what we dealt with in our childhood, with our parents, with our father, with our mother. And it's people working out those same behavior patterns. And that's why we
Yeah.
attract that. Because I attracted narcissistic men because I've noticed narcissistic tendencies in the men in my dad's family, where it was like machismo, men don't cry, we're men. And like I was attracting men like that because I was comfortable with it. It was convenient. And Kane's the most masculine man I know, but he's so emotionally evolved that it's comfortable because
See,
I could cry. Yeah.
I have not met a man like that yet, and I wonder. For me personally, I wonder sometimes is it because I was raised by my father?
It could
Like
be. It could be.
yeah, like I was raised by my father. My father was a single dad, and it's not like he didn't raise me to be feminine, but then he also raised me to be independent, and
Right.
I know that's a big part of me, but I'm also, willing to submit a little bit if it's with the right person, which that's what I thought I had. I have written off finding love in my life, honestly, because of the fact that I see the women in my family, besides my mom and her boyfriend, all the other women, they don't have no significant others. They all are single. The only difference is I don't have kids. So now I'm like, I like you said earlier, like I'm scared of dying alone. When I go out, I don't go out with the intention of meeting anyone, but if I do,
Right.
that's awesome. But I've gotten to a point now where I don't even bother to look at like men's way because first of all, I don't want to deal with the rejection of,
I think a lot of
you
people
know,
are scared of rejection today now.
yeah, exactly. But also too, like, not to get too personal, but I think to myself that I'm not that attractive to men anymore.
No, you
So like
are
I've
very attractive. You are shutting yourself down because you're giving up. But this means, okay, the end of an era means a rebirth to a different version. So why not rebirth a different version of yourself and kill off the version who was getting hurt all the time?
And that's where I'm at. I guess when you say it like that, I guess that makes sense. Starting therapy and working out those issues so that I can become that kind of
Hmm.
person, like, or a different person, or just trying to figure out this whole thing. But I really have isolated myself from men. I just don't trust them at all. I want to go out and meet them in real life. And here's another issue too. Without getting into the race part. But I prefer black men. I don't don't
There's
don't
no
ask me to
problem.
date.
There's no
But
problem with that. It's your
there's a
preference.
lot of people that do have a problem. They be like, "Well, why don't you want to date outside your race?" My daddy is a black
Preference.
man.
Preference.
But no, but I was raised by a black man. Some of the most successful people that I know are black men. I love black men because at the end of the day, I want my black family.
Yeah.
But a lot of black men don't like black women, no matter
I've
what shade
heard
you are.
I've heard a lot of podcasts talk about that. I've heard a lot of black women go and talk about that. It's real. It's
Yeah.
very real. It's a very real thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, any person decides what their preference is. You're not going to go and tell them anything. But whenever a black woman says, "I only want a black man," oh my God, God forbid. Oh my God, how dare her,
Right.
right? And it's
Like
like, no, everybody has a preference. There are white people who won't date white people. There are, Asians who won't date Asians. There's Mexicans who won't date Mexicans. Everyone has a
listen,
preference.
I literally have a friend. Her name is Callie Cat. Shout out to Callie Cat if she ever watched this. She told me she do not like dating Latino men because of how they act. She's like, I don't like them. I will not date them. And she's Latina. So she's like, I mean, I get it. I understand it. But I'm sorry. I will not date no white man, no
You
Asian
know what's
man,
what's
no.
crazy is like I don't have that preference. Like I don't have I'm like I just want someone spiritually evolved because I mean, I had children with a Mexican. I'm mixed. So I'm half
Yeah.
Mexican, I'm half white. So I had children with a Mexican. I dated an
Mm-hmm.
Italian for a long time. I dated a white man for a long time and now I'm with a Native American Mexican. He's half Mexican, his dad's Mexican and his mom's Native American. And like
Oh.
you look at my track record and you're like, "Damn, you have like Tourette's." Like what is
I
wrong?
wouldn't call it Tourette's. You found the right person for you.
Mhm.
And sometimes it takes a little bit and you've looked beyond ethnicity, which is
Mhm.
great. There's nothing wrong with that. If I can meet someone that is of a different race and they are just the sweetest person in the world and all the things
I
that
mean,
I'm looking for,
things
then
happen.
yeah.
Things happen, but preference is
Right.
preference, and you're not alone with
Mm-hmm.
that because I know a lot of there's like a Filipino man that I used to talk to, and he was my client. He was like, I just want a Filipino wife because he was Filipino and he just wanted the
Yeah.
same culture. And then he
Yeah.
ended up finding someone who was in the same culture. And then I met another, he was Vietnamese and he was living in New Mexico and he was like, I need a Vietnamese wife. And I'm like, you're in the wrong place, dude. So then he ended up moving and then he met a woman who was in the same Vietnamese church that he was associated to and then they got married.
Oh.
It's not just like, oh, like the black women want a black man and the black
Yeah.
men want a white woman. It's not.
Yeah.
It's there are other ethnic groups out there that are
Mm-hmm.
their preference is their own race and that's fine. There ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, I deal with a lot. I have a lot of clients that live in the like the Pueblo Indians or like the Isleta Indians or like Native
Yeah.
Americans. And
Yeah.
when they live on the res, they can't bring other races into the res. They have to be within their own group. That happens
That's
a lot
crazy.
too. Happens a lot too. So it's not like unrealistic and it's not far fetched. It's just the right person will come when you're open to it or ready to it. So
Yeah.
when I look at like knowing what you want is very important. You know what you want, J Bell. That's what you
Yeah.
want. So you don't accidentally date someone who's allergic to commitment. That's what you're not trying to do.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and for people out there, you got to limit your screen time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you got to put down dating apps for a bit, so they're basically like digital crack. Like, people get so addicted to scrolling. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that dopamine chase that happens. Learn how to meet people in real life. Get out of this social awkward behaviors. Stop thinking that you have to, like, you're walking past. I walk past people all the time. My phone's in my pocket and I
Mm-hmm.
see people just staring at their phone as they're walking, as they're eating, as they're biking. I'm like, oh my God, nobody puts it down anymore. Remember the thing called real life? Yeah, try
Right.
it.
I
Trust
think
your psychic gut. We all have it.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think for me, like my phone is my crutch because I'm so socially awkward too. Like people have really made me feel awkward when I'm around them and I'm
We gotta
talking. I'm just
fix
like,
that. We gotta fix that.
I have been through so much when it comes to just people in general. I just don't know.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
socially awkward as a psychic by default. And so when I watch the real world and I'm like watching what's going on and someone's staring at me, I stare at them back awkwardly. Like I do the most and I
Yeah.
get like tickled out of it because that's just what you have to do. You have to make light of the situation and you have to say, okay, well, my awkward behavior isn't more awkward than this guy who's doing weird things on the corner. So we have to learn to trust our intuition because your intuition will tell you red flag. I don't vibe with that. Stop going on dates and trying to be like, okay, I can change that with him. I can fix that. No,
Yeah, no,
don't.
you gotta take
If
people
it
at
just
face
doesn't,
value.
if it doesn't align with you, walk away from it. No matter how cute they look in your profile pic, it does not matter. Patience, patience, patience. Good
Yeah.
things that come to those who wait, especially in the
Hmm.
dating landscape, this chaotic, is
Yeah.
sometimes this much needed alone time is needed for a reason.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I personally think that at that point now, like there's so many things that for me I need to work on. You know, I'm going back into therapy. I'm fixing my meds from my psychiatrist. Like
You're
I
working
think
on
that
you.
yeah, like this is the time I really am working on me. Now if I could just, learn to work for myself and be my independent owned company and not work for anybody anymore, I think I can be fully ready at some point to let somebody else in. I think this is like the wrong time personally to date because most people expect you to have it all together at my age.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You
that's
know
not
what? That's
realistic.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, like,
back in 1998 when housing was way affordable and groceries were cheaper and gas was like
yeah.
$1. Okay, yeah, cool. Thanks to our family, our parents, now we have to work extremely hard because all that
Hmm.
generational wealth went somewhere else. So I have some psychic predictions and then we
Okay.
can probably just like wrap up it so for psychically speaking like 2025 it's a shit show. I'm sorry. We're not going to get any closer to anything real until the end of this year. At
Mm.
the end of this year, there's going to start to be a shift because I feel like people are going to start craving that real connection again. So instead
Hmm.
of like looking for a needle in a haystack that's on fire, they're going to be looking for a bolt with a magnet in that haystack where it's like pulling that energy towards them. And I
Right.
predict that within the next year, a new dating trend will emerge, something maybe more towards like soul purpose alignment,
Hmm.
soul fulfillment, where you're actually trying to meet people who you vibe with in various ways, whether it be spiritually, emotionally, romantically. There's going to be some sort of uprise with people trying to find their soul people and finding love within those groups. By
Mm.
the end of 2025, I do see a wave of people ditching apps altogether and rediscovering the magic of face to face conversation because I feel like
Right.
people are genuinely getting burned out of swiping constantly
Yeah.
or the disconnect that they face with trying to date in today's world. I see a new tech coming that will help you really feel someone's energy before you even meet them. So,
Hmm.
you know, it might even be something such as like emotional DNA testing. It sounds weird, right? But you never know.
Yeah.
You never know with the technology that we have, that with all these ancestry DNAs and all these DNA platforms that are like, hey, find your family, find this, find this. You never know. They might come up with some form of let's find chemical imbalances in people and see if we can align them together. It's,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
laughing about that, but watch they come out with that. That'd be pretty funny. My psychic gut says that the biggest love story of 2026 will be about someone who finally gets offline, trusts their intuition, and finds someone who truly gets them. No filters needed because we're living in a world where we're meeting someone off of the internet. You get them in person, you're like, wait, you don't have those hearts all over you? I'm confused. The
Yeah, I do
filters.
wonder about my own love life. I'm like, I don't know if I we talked about this offline. Like, am I really ready to date, or do I really want to be bothered with the opposite sex?
You know, Bell, honestly, I feel like what you're doing right now with getting your emotional well-being in line and your
Mm-hmm.
physical well-being, like feeling good about yourself and getting your confidence back, getting your oomph back. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you'll be ready for anything once you figured all that out because you're a go-getter and you're a person who doesn't let things get in your way. You push. So, I definitely feel that once you conquer this emotional stuff that you've been faced with, you'll be ready for
Mm-hmm.
anything. It's just we can't pull people in that space with us when we're still trying to sort it out ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Well, wow, this first episode, I mean, we covered everything, honestly.
I think we really missed each other cuz
Yes, I missed my friend. I know we've been talking on the phone and stuff, but just to have this outlet for us again, I think this is like the best thing ever. And it's just like, yeah, I'm so thankful that we took the time to like handle our
get this
business
going
and stuff.
again.
Yeah, and then come back together because I feel like this first episode, people are gonna people are gonna love it because I mean you
Right.
gave a lot of insight and a lot of gems and yeah, yeah,
So yeah, dating in 2025, it's like a hot mess, but hey, it's keeping you on your toes.
yeah.
I get, I used to be in really toxic relationships where I was like in a 2T, not to brag, but like now I'm in a healthy relationship where now I'm like wearing normal adult clothing. So, um, it's not always fun because sometimes I miss wearing that 2T. Remember, stay grounded, trust your vibe, don't settle for anything less than a spark that's real, preferably
Mm-hmm.
one that doesn't involve ghosting or AI. Drop us a crazy dating story.
Yep.
Questions. We love a good laugh. So we
Yes.
love to connect. Tell us. We can talk about how to find love when everyone's basically walking a walking red flag, but we want to hear other people's stories
Yeah.
because it makes us not feel like, oh my God,
Only supposed to
is
talk
just
about
like,
ourselves.
is only J Bell this way? Like,
Right. Yeah. So, like, eventually, what we're gonna do, as we continue back, slowly getting back into this groove, is that we're gonna have a voicemail line that you guys can come and share your stories, and or if you have questions for Sam for our next episode or anything like that. This is what we're gonna do down the line. You can just call into that line, and we'll
I'll
have
answer
the
them.
question. Yeah. Or you can comment below on the YouTube channel, and then we'll ask the question for Sam. We'll have a Q&A at some point, and do all that good stuff right there. So I think we've covered everything for the most part on this first
Yeah.
episode. We
And
did a
if
lot.
people reach out and they let us know like, "Hey, can you ever cover this topic?" We most definitely will.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely leave comments below here on the video. Let us know what else you would love for us to talk about or discuss, what psychic predictions we have coming up. But yeah, until next time, guys. Whew, I got to take all this in. Man, Sam.
Well, it's good to be back.
Exactly. It is great to be back. So until next time, guys, we're going to peace out. We'll see you next month. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.